to hello and welcome to episode number 18. Old enough
18.
to old enough to what, smoke or drink?
It depends where you live, man. That depends entirely where you live.
That is true. What's going on with you?
Nothing. I had a longer commute than I thought today, and other than that, nothing. Nothing.
Cool.
Nothing at all.
It's just been a busy week, one thing after the other, but here we are again, as usual. Nice to
Yeah.
have some consistency for once in a while.
Yeah.
Why
This
don't
is
you
the one
s-
consistent thing.
Yep. Why don't you start us off with what Elizabeth Olsen has to say about Sam Raimi?
So there was a recent interview where she was talking about the Doctor Strange sequel, Multiverse of Madness. Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, she didn't say it's really." She says it's old Sam Raimi, very Sam
Hmm.
Raimi, and she said it's visually thrilling because, which I think I do believe her on that because Sam Raimi was said by like this was an interview where Bruce Campbell was talking about Sam, and he's like he was somebody who when they wanted to be a director, they picked up the book on like I guess it would be the book on like camera angles, shots, different kinds of things, how to do them, how to set them up. Like he read that whole like detailed book on that or books, multiple books. So he's like a student of the game, like he really knows his stuff. So I believe him. And apparently it's not like his Western stuff as she says, but the horror, which we should add, like the headline says, she says it's Marvel's trying to make the scariest
Yeah,
Marvel movie.
I was gonna
This is
say about that.
where,
That
yeah,
that
it's
that, sound,
clickbait.
that sounds like hyperbole because
Yeah.
yeah, even if you make a movie that has some scares here and there, it's gonna be by default the scariest Marvel movie because, to be honest, there is no scary Marvel movie.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
compared to what, right?
Yeah, and they're saying like the scariness, and this is where people get misled. That comes from constant fear and thrill with like misleads, playing with the camera, like I was talking about with
Okay.
how he had read everything about it and knows so much. Like apparently she said that they're gonna maybe fuck with the depth of field to make you feel anxious and
Like those
maybe that's one way you
those
can do it. But
those fucking
yeah,
cameras in Thor really made me anxious.
in what? Sorry, in
The
horror.
Thor.
Oh. But yeah, I can imagine what Sam Raimi could do. So I'm wet, guys. I'm positively wet. What do you think? Like, does it sound
Like yeah,
reassuring to you, or
no, like I said, I think it's completely hyperbole. She's just yeah, it's
yeah,
stretching the truth. It's like yeah, scariest Marvel movie. Okay,
yeah,
is that really a, an an accomplishment?
exactly. And there's a
Or
quote that Feige said. He's
maybe
like,
I'm too cynical.
well, I mean, with these movies, it's especially after you see Black Widow, it's fair to be a bit cynical.
Mm,
You know, um, that's my take though, without spoiling anything. But that's just my opinion.
yeah.
But like Feige was saying that he he was saying he said how it's fun to be scared in that way, but not in a horrific, torturous way, but a way that's legit scary. He says, "Oh yeah, Scott Derrickson, who was the original director for the second movie and he was for the first, he says, oh, he's good at doing that kind of torturous scary. But he says, I want scary that's in service of exhilarating emotion." And so that explains to me because if you guys heard in the news, they said Scott Derrickson like stepped down as director like 9 months ago. It's more, maybe 9 months now. It was in the fall, and he's got stepped down as the director. So it tells me like him and Feige had clashing ideas of what's scary. That's my
But why?
analysis.
Well, I would as much as I would welcome more experimentation in the Marvel fucking formula. Why does it have to be scary? Am I missing something? Is it based on the arc or something?
I'm not sure. I think it's just the
What?
director for the second one was trying to infuse the the fear part, but like Multiverse of Madness, I don't know if it was a conceptual thing or not, just for it to be scary.
Well, I welcome it. If it's gonna be different for sure. Which
Yeah.
which we already kind of anticipated that it's gonna be different. Just
Yeah.
based on the concept alone. But yeah, that's cool. It's definitely something to look forward to.
What's into the next thing?
So, completely out of nowhere, there is a free-to-play Pokemon MOBA game on the Nintendo Switch. And although I have yet to try it out, I definitely plan to. It looks like a consoleized MOBA, which is, yes, it makes sense for Switch. To me, this is still an pleasant surprise. Um, it shows that Nintendo is getting with the times for better or for worse. Some information that I have about this MOBA from this article that I pulled from Geek Turned is it is free to play. All the paid how do you say how to all the paid components are purely cosmetic as of this writing. I believe they're starting with the earlier gen Pokemons to kind of ease people into this, and obviously those are the more recognizable um, monsters, I guess. And 5v5, yeah, I gotta say, looking forward to trying this. It'll be interesting playing a MOBA on a console. I don't think that has been attempted since Smite. So,
Yeah, I think you might be right. I
yeah.
I just I'll watch it, but I don't think I'll play it. But you're pretty good at MOBAs, aren't you? Solid.
I'm okay at League. I wouldn't say I'm competitive at it, but again, this might be fun for just for casual playing, and it
I
more
dig it.
more stuff to do with Nintendo Online can only be better, and it's free,
I agree.
so you don't lose anything by giving it a try. So
Exactly.
I may report back next week how that goes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let us know.
So
All
tell
right,
me about
let me.
this wrestling stuff,
Yeah, this wrestling stuff. Let me tell you about it, brother.
brother.
Um, brother. Oh my God, I have a story about brother, but I'll save it. We'll talk about it some other time. So Stephen Amell, you guys might know him. I think everybody generally knows Stephen Amell from. There's two things. One is the show on what was it, CW called Arrow. He was in there for 8 seasons. Holy crap!
The DC show?
And then yeah, DC show, which he's not really like the Green Arrow, like the comic version, but whatever. It's like the Dark Knight, like the way that they portray Bruce in the Dark Knight. They added that to
They take liberties.
yeah,
Yeah.
big time. Like he's not really like Oliver Queen at all. Anyway, not that it's a bad show actually. Season 1, 2, and 5 are really good. Those are the only ones I watched. I watched half of season 3 and stopped because I knew it was gonna get bad,
Okay.
and it did. But anyway, he's in there and he was in TMNT too. But he was Casey Jones, I think, and he had his scenes cut short. So that gives you an idea who we're
The
dealing with.
Michael Bay one?
TMNT 2, was it Michael Bay? I'm not sure. You're probably right.
Yeah.
2016,
Yeah, they
that one. Yeah. So then that's it. But anyway, so he's in this show that's basically going to be a wrestling drama that involves two brothers and pro wrestling, and it tells stories about like what it is to chase the dream of being a pro wrestler when you're in this small town.
mm,
And it's not going to be at all like on the scale of like the WWE stuff you see. Like it's going to be it seems a smaller scale show. Um, and it follows the synopsis is like here's a family-owned wrestling promotion, two brothers I just mentioned. They're Jack Spade, which is Stephen Amell and Ace Spade, and then they war over their father's legacy. And you know, they're saying how being a good guy, which is called a face in pro wrestling,
yeah.
and being a heel, which is a bad guy, that's the terminology.
Yeah, huh?
Um, it's saying how like sometimes you know, you can't leave behind a character that you play in the ring. Like you carry it with you. Like if
Yeah.
actors get maybe too much into a character or role. Do you know what I mean?
Actors get the same thing when I've heard once an actor starts playing villains that tends to be the role that they keep getting.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Clancy Brown talked about how everybody sees him as like a military character that's evil every time. Like
Yeah.
that's his thing, right? But anyway, I
Oh,
think
so
the
this is
trailer, if
like
you,
is
yeah,
this
what's
is
up?
this kind of based on the two wrestling brothers that they were? I think Matt Hardy and Tom Hardy, or what's their name?
No, Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy,
Jeff
Tom Hardy.
Hardy, sorry.
Matt and Tom Hardy is perfect. I think it's based on like maybe they're drawing some inspiration from the Funk family, but I could be wrong.
The Funk
Like
family.
Dory Funk, yeah, Terry Funk, Dory Funk Jr.
Mm.
Uh, or it could be the Von Erichs, that family, Kerry Von Erich. This is old school references, so
Okay.
people will know in the comments. These are really old school wrestlers, so maybe they're borrowing from those either of those families and what happened to them, or the Hart family. Again, I keep going. So the whole idea though, like honestly, if you saw that trailer and you know what goes on in pro wrestling behind the scenes,
Oh
like you
yeah.
know more like in my case, if you're
This
interested in what happens behind the curtain, this is like a good show, it seems. Basically, is
I
what
would
I'm
really like a documentary. I guess this is what this kind of is,
in a way.
or a biopics really showing. Oh, speaking of biopic, the Hulk Hogan stuff is coming up too, right?
Oh shit, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would like something that kind of shows the, as you said, behind the curtain of pro wrestling,
Yep.
the substance abuse,
Yeah.
the sketchy contracts that
Oh my
these
God.
performers sign up for.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
big problem.
totally. I would That would definitely be something I would be into, and
Yeah, this is gonna
yeah,
touch on that a bit, I
for
think.
sure, for sure.
Yeah, and if you saw The Wrestler in 2008, then this is kind of thing you want to watch.
The
And
Mickey Rourke one.
the Make Your Roar
Oh, I
one.
still gotta
Yes,
watch
that's the
that.
one.
Yeah,
It's not bad. It's
yeah.
not bad. I have some issues, but it's not a lot. Um, but Stephen Amell's like been a wrestling fan since he was kid. He was a kid, right? So I trust him. Like I think he'll put his all into it. Like I have a lot of faith.
Hmm.
Like he cares about pro wrestling genuinely. So that tells me something.
All right.
Yeah, throw us into this next one.
This is gonna be a bit of a fun topic.
Oh
I
my
just
God.
came across this article saying the worst PC ports ever. So I was having a discussion with a friend, and he was just kind of curious. How come some games I own on consoles, which most people who own both a PC or console usually keep the console around for exclusives. Whereas in my case, I actually own some games that are available on all platforms, specifically on a certain console. And sometimes the reason is that the game is just better suited to me on a console, especially if it's like a multiplayer or split screen game. I feel like they just work better on consoles. You connect all your controllers, it's already on your TV, everything just works fine. Whereas setting up split screen for me on a PC, sorry, is a bit of a more challenge. Just by the logistics of where the stuff is in my room. Not saying you can't, but definitely. Going off topic here, that's the second reason is sometimes the PC port is just a goddamn train wreck, and this
Yeah.
article will highlight some of these examples.
Oh dear.
Talking about Arkham Knight, Batman Arkham Knight came out in 2015 and pretty much broken on launch. We got game straight up not starting up. We had the memory leak issue, compounded by the fact that Windows 10 was a glitchy mess at the time anyway, around launch. Uh, yeah, people got straight up. I think this is actually one of the games that accelerated the Steam refund policy. It was that bad, it changed the platform forever. Yeah, I don't know if you had any experience with Arkham Knight.
No, but I'm looking at this list. I have some funny shit to talk
Oh
about
yeah.
for these.
Next up, we got Dark Souls. I don't think it needs that much explanation. It has pretty much all the hallmarks of a bad PC game. Terrible controls on the keyboard and mouse side of things. 30 FPS cap, graphical issues, poor performance. I mean, have do you notice that a lot of games that are heavily Japanese developer focused be don't tend to be as good on launch on PC, and it's kind of changing now that
It
Japanese
is, yeah.
developers are embracing Steam and PC.
Yep,
But I
yep, yep,
think
yep.
the simple reason is that PC gaming is not as popular in Japan, at least not in the sense that it is here. Over here,
Yeah,
you could use a meaty desktop PC to play all your AAA games, whereas I think PC gaming over there is very different. It's more adventure games, visual novels, or
exactly.
online RPGs and whatnot.
That's
And
what I was worried about with Tekken 7. I was like,
yeah,
please don't be bad.
but
Yeah,
yeah, that turned out okay.
it did.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good.
I think Namco in general does a good job.
Yeah, Xenoverse was good too. It was
Yep.
made for consoles, and voila, it's really good on PC.
Although that might be more of a credit to Unreal Engine than any developer, but
You're
oh well.
right. It runs
Yeah.
on Unreal, I think. Yeah, that's a good
Okay.
point.
Next
Yeah.
is something that I think a lot of people will be familiar with, especially 90s kids. Spider-Man 2 on PC.
Oh,
You
oh
want to
my
talk
God.
about a bad port, or you want to talk about a game that straight up was a different game entirely
Yeah, it was straight up
on
different.
PC? It had absolutely nothing to do with the console game, which I think a lot of people still consider to be one of the better superhero games on consoles, period, which is amazing considering that it came out in 2004.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the PC game? It was
Hmm?
basically you move Spidey with the keyboard, and then all of the actions you perform with the mouse, which includes swinging, which includes punching and kicking, which was very awkward. The camera moved like it's fucking Max Payne, with Spidey moving like a
Max
fucking,
Payne.
yeah, like a, what do you call it, mannequin, you know?
Oh
Just
yeah, that's
awful,
right.
just
Oh my
really
God.
awful. They got
And the
rid of.
reticle.
I I think the biggest shame is that it wasn't even a free roam game. You couldn't free roam in the game,
Yeah,
which
you
was
had to
one
go
of.
through a set area. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
it was
bad.
just a linear game, which makes no sense. First of all, why make a different game than the console version, which was great to begin with?
Oh,
It
it's
just
so
seems
good,
like
dude.
more work. Uh,
Yep.
I
Yep.
don't know. Maybe the developers thought they could make something better, but I
And they didn't.
time told the truth.
Dude, you told, dude, that game is so glitchy. Voice, like the voice lines are all messed
Oh
up, and
yeah.
they T-pose and float into cutscenes and float away. Like it's bad.
If you want, just look up Spider-Man 2 PC port on YouTube, and there's a pretty good video. I think it's by
Oh
the
my
guy
God.
who does the really good edits. What's his name? Hang on, if I pull it up right now, I'll see it. Spider-Man 2 on PC.
Donkey?
No, not Donkey. It's silent. Like it's a guy who does really good edits. I can't.
Oh,
He does all the E3 awkward E3 edits.
interesting.
I don't know even E3. Uh, I'll find it right now. Crowcat. Highly
Oh,
recommend that
okay.
channel. I
Yeah,
don't know
dude.
if he did the Spider-Man 2 edit or no, he didn't make a Spider-Man 2. I'm misremembering, but that's a great channel regardless.
Yeah, well, that's all right. I
You
think
had any
people will find
experience
it.
with this atrocity?
Oh, just watching it. I never played it.
You
Thank
never
God.
played it. Because
No.
here's the thing,
Yeah.
I am familiar with most of the games on this list because I exclusively had a PC growing up, and it's when I got older and I everybody talks about fondly remembers the Spider-Man 2
Yeah.
game, and I'm like, what are you guys talking about? That game was fucking awful.
That's right. That's right.
So I
Yeah.
missed out on that console version. Yeah.
And meanwhile, I bathed in it. I remember
Yep.
the day I got that version of the game.
This
Oh
next
my God,
game
the
was
next one.
pretty hilarious. Saints Row 2 came out in
Oh,
2009.
I played the shit out of this game, man.
Yep, and interestingly, this game was done by CD Projekt, which is
Yep.
interesting considering that they usually are a PC focused developer. The most egregious issue with, you won't believe, this game's frame rate, I believe, was tied to the clock speed of your
Yep.
computer.
Yep.
So if you actually had an overclocked PC, it would run like fucking Tom and Jerry. Like,
Oh my God.
oh my god,
Yeah,
absolute
I gotta tell you a
unplayable.
story about this. I gotta
Yeah.
tell you guys a story. I played the shit out of this game one winter break with my best friend Nick, and fucking, oh my God, dude.
Did you play it on PC?
Yeah,
Oh
PC,
my
PC.
god.
And you guys are gonna be so shocked. I didn't have that many problems with it. And I
Really?
was like, yeah, my computer was a bit stronger. And I don't know about Nick's, but
I don't know,
yeah,
man.
I don't
Maybe
know.
as a kid you don't notice this technical stuff as much. because
True.
you're more absorbed in the game. I think as
But
an
it felt smooth, and the matchmaking was good. Like we getting into each other's game. I don't know. I just didn't have a bad
uh,
experience with it. I might be the exception.
as an
Yeah,
adult, you definitely tend to notice this stuff more.
yeah. I played it, and keep in mind it was winter of 2012
Yeah,
or 11, 11 or 12. One of the two winters. Yeah,
and
we played it so
this
much.
for me, this is one of the last Saints Row games that before the series went absolutely batshit insane.
Yeah, I prefer
Uh,
this.
yeah, so this was still somewhat grounded, and it's still one of the reasons I keep my Xbox 360 copy. You know,
Nice. You have it too?
yeah,
Copy.
around the
That's
360.
dope.
Yeah,
I don't.
yeah. That being said, I don't think 3 was that much of a better PC port either, but that's a different
It's
story.
actually again, I had very little problems with it. Just the matchmaking was a bit weird, like getting together. But
Okay.
it's great otherwise. Yeah,
I
must be the exception.
gotta say, I've tried both and could never play it. Absolutely
I had
unplayable.
no problem. It's so weird.
Yeah, weird. Maybe you were playing with a controller, or were you playing with a keyboard and mouse?
Controller,
Maybe that's
controller.
it. I think the keyboard and mouse really exaggerated the frame rate issues, whereas you don't tend to notice
Interesting.
that stuff as much with the
Nick played on
controller.
a keyboard, so I could ask him.
Maybe you just fucking pain through it.
Banter. He would have told me, I feel like, but yeah, I'll ask him. Maybe he did
Yeah.
suffer. Keep going.
This next one I don't have experience with. Street Fighter 2. I didn't
I don't
realize it
either.
even had a PC port, but super old,
Yeah,
1993. This is before I was born, so just gonna skip past
same.
this
Yeah.
one. Resident Evil 4. Oh my god. This is the version that I initially completed, believe it or not, I somehow. This game was a port of the PS2 version, which is an inferior port of the GameCube version. So you can imagine how that goes. Start off, the PS2 version had inferior cutscenes. It had the low resolution FMV cutscenes as opposed to the in-engine stuff. Um, graphics weren't as good. Textures took a really big hit. And this, I think, this era of Capcom on PC was pretty bad, as you'll see later on too. Um, Biggest thing about this game is it didn't support mouse out of the box.
Oh
So
my God.
you you would move with the WASD and aim with the goddamn arrow keys or number pad. Shoot with the enter key.
Oh,
Like awful, god awful.
what were they smoking?
I think the only way I managed was to play with the gamepad, and even then there were certain levels I remember that inexplicably just ran at 15 or 10 FPS. Just no, it had nothing to
Jesus
do with
Christ.
your PC's performance. That part of the game was just broken. As if the testing team didn't make it that far in the game. Yeah, awful,
It,
absolutely awful.
it, yeah, I've heard.
Most of the stuff was fixed in the Resident Evil 4 HD port on Steam. Though I still prefer to play this on consoles. I have a copy on Switch. Had absolutely zero issues with it. Okay, gonna skip Splinter Cell because I didn't have experience with this and go
Same.
straight on over to Devil May Cry 3, which is interestingly enough, as I said, I only had PC growing up. Also, the first version I beat.
Was this one?
Yep.
Dude.
So
Oh my God.
this fucking game would start on Windows mode by default. Even if you bumped it up to full screen by pressing Alt and Enter, this game didn't have a graphics menu, I think. This game was locked to 640 by 480.
What the
I
hell?
am not kidding. It's like they just took the PS2 game and just dumped it on the PC.
Oh
Like,
my
I think you
God.
would have better luck playing it on an emulator than playing the actual PC
Oh
version.
my God.
Yeah,
That's awful.
I'm not exaggerating. Obviously, keyboard controls are as bad as you can imagine. To be fair, translating a hack and slash 3D hack and slash game is not a not an easy task to a keyboard. So having a controller was almost a must. This the only issue I bring with the controller with this and Resident Evil 4, this was the dark ages of PC gaming with the controller, because this was before Xbox 360 standardized the controller API on PC. This was before X input, which is
Oh yeah,
basically
that's
the
right.
standard for PC gaming now. Now these days, you put in
Yeah.
it, plug in an Xbox controller, or even a PS4 controller for that matter, and Steam does all the work for you. Or the
It's
game
crazy.
supports X input. This was the dark ages. This was the wild west of PC gaming controllers. They came in all shapes and sizes, USB.
Yeah.
Some of them used serial input. The
Oh,
old,
you can
like,
hear my soul breaking the
oh
more
man,
you go on
yeah.
about these ports.
Just
Oh,
no standard at all. It was anything goes basically.
the Wild Wild West.
So yeah, you would when you got a controller, the first thing you would have to do is manually map each button to the for each
Oh,
game, which
every
is
time though, or
not every time. That's depends on the game actually. Not every time, but definitely for each game, which is about as fun as you can imagine. Okay, gonna skip MGS2.
yeah,
Just
how
on
about that?
principle, if you want to, if you want a rule of thumb, any game that was exclusive on PlayStation is probably not gonna do well on PC. Uh, and I am. That's where this article ends for me.
No.
But just I'm gonna go off a tangent and go through my Steam library just to point out any usual suspects of games that I've pretty much
Sure.
abandoned on the PC. I feel like Nier Automata, although it's a great game, is just plagued with issues on PC, where ranging from performance to lack of graphical options. Obvious things like frame rate and resolution are somehow not as accessible on PC as they could have been. So obviously, I would. The good thing about this is if you have an Xbox, it is on Game Pass, so you don't have to pay full price for it. So recommend that option instead. Um, Early Tomb Raider games before the reboots, I'd say
Oh, those ones?
stick with the consoles because
Huh.
for me, I've had nothing but issues trying to get them to run on PC. Again, it's controller issues, it's graphical issues. It just
By OG, you mean like Tomb Raider 1 and 2 on
no,
like the
not that
PS1?
OG. I'm talking the PS2 era, the Legend
Oh,
Anniversary and
those.
Underworld. Yeah, stick with the console versions as I do.
Hmm.
Um, what else? MKX, Mortal Kombat X.
Oh yeah, yeah. I played this one.
Um, apart from the egregious file size, I think the game ran upward of 60 gigabytes at an era where games had no business being 60 gigabytes. I feel like the game was fine. I think it definitely had performance issues. Fighting games is another thing I prefer on consoles because having that locked 60 FPS is really key. And on PC, where you have to tweak the graphics to get 60 FPS, especially with some stages and characters being the wild card. And
Yeah,
you
man.
would have a game that runs pretty much flawlessly on 90% of stages, but then it's that 10% stage where you get famously in Tekken, if you get 2 gigases on the Mishima stage or
Oh,
that stage
not
with a lot of moving
Mishima building. Mishima
Mishima
building.
building
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
stage, that's a surefire way to tank your platform.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or like using two bears. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
or two bears with the fur effect. So, but
Yep.
I would say for fighting games, um, having getting the console experience where you know that the game is tailor made for the platform and it will never drop below 60 just for competitive reasons.
Right.
Is
I
I
agree.
would say yeah, go with the console version. WWE 2K series. Now,
Oh my
don't
God.
get me wrong. I'm really happy to have all these wrestling games on PC because before it was either that or nothing, right? Like
Yep, exactly. You had one
historically,
game,
yeah,
WWF Raw.
Raw, which was
Yeah,
which
not
got
great.
old really fast, you know.
No,
Not the best game.
nope.
So, hey, I'm still hoping. I know it might not happen because of licensing. I'm still hoping all those old SmackDown versus Raw games get a re-release, whether that's on new
Yeah.
consoles
Oh my God, I
or
would kill for
PC.
that.
But yeah,
Those are so fun.
Again, WWE 2K series, I would say avoid the PC versions. Some people would say avoid them entirely. But
Yeah,
to that, I'd say there are some standouts. I think 2K15 is one of the better entries in the
it
franchise.
is.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that game actually
and for
for the
that
most
reason,
part.
that's the one I own on Xbox. So
Oh, there you go then.
don't see any reason to upgrade yearly for that. Uh, Going through my
No,
list
it's
again, and
there comes.
you can bring up any game that you come across. Just this
Sure,
is
I'll open
real
up my
impromptu,
list.
but uh,
I like it. Oh, let me look.
yeah.
I probably don't have. Let me see. Let me look at my library. No,
Call of Duty is another game where I feel like it's more suited for consoles, just because of the sheer amount of hacking that I see in the PC versions. The anti cheat is not as how do you say it? Not as in place as it is. EA tends to do better with that stuff. So again, Call of Duty is a game I prefer on consoles, especially for the split screen uh, multiplayer.
my only issue with Spyro Reignited Trilogy that I can think of with
I think
this PC
Activision.
port.
Yeah, I think Activision is pretty solid with their PC ports.
The only issue I have is alt tabbing with that game, and the other
Hmm.
game I can think of to talk about is it was right here. Um, damn, it's not here. If I remember it, I'll bring it back up. But that's
Okay.
the only one I can have an issue with. Is like, oh, Mortal Kombat 9. That one.
Yeah.
I didn't like
Again,
Mortal Kombat 9.
setting the graphics on that was especially getting the resolution right.
Not
I
just that, it didn't support X input, I think.
I'm pretty sure it does. I played that recently, or
Either that, but
at
all I
least it has
remember
been
was
added since then.
all I can tell you is that I found that button binding was hell. That's all
Oh
I
yeah,
can
for
remember.
sure.
I
Especially if
hated
you're
it.
trying to use the stick.
Yeah,
Again,
which I was.
using sticks way more easier on consoles than PC.
Yeah, oh my god. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's way easier.
on PC it's still the Wild West
Yeah.
because X input is not as common on fight sticks as it is on controllers.
Yeah. Yep,
Um,
it's true.
yeah, I think that's it for this one. Not to
Yeah.
go too long on one topic. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's
Hit.
cover a little bit of some odd news,
Yep.
then we'll taper off. So, this article was talking about how loose bull temporarily shut down a New York highway. And so this loose bull, it shut down a stretch of it, and then New York drivers, I thought about this when I read this article. It's a very simple thing. It's just bull shut down highway. But I thought about how New York drivers are already like another breed of driver. And imagine how pissed off they would have been saying, "This is some bullshit." You see what I did there? Aha! Awful. I should run off a cliff. But anyway, what I'm saying is New Yorkers are a different breed of driver because if you're at a four-way stop sign and you do the thing where we do here in Canada, we're like, "Oh no, you go, you go." Dude, a New Yorker will cuss you out, give you the finger, do everything, and then just force his turn, not even wait. Like, what the fuck?
Runs
Who
wild.
does that shit? Who says, "No, you go, no, you go"? It's like New Yorkers can't. They don't have the patience for
I'm
that
walking here.
style of driving.
Yeah. So
So
just bull on the loose.
yeah. Oh, and then the other thing is apparently this bull just broke through a fence on a farm,
Oh
and then
my
they were
god.
asked, yeah, they asked people to stay indoors and said call 911. Imagine that. Ah,
Oh my
911.
god.
They got this bull outside.
Straight up walked
But
through a fence like the goddamn Kool-Aid man.
it gives a whole new meaning to Buffalo, New York. But
Buffalo, New
see what I
York.
did there?
Holy
Buffalo,
shit.
New York, an
Some
actual
of this
city.
footage is actually pretty terrifying. Imagine if you walk down the street and you see a fucking bull running towards you.
Yeah, but yeah, they were just trying to tranquilize it to secure the bull. So
Yeah.
we don't know how that goes. I didn't
Ab-
see an update. So
Absolutely insane.
anyway,
What do you
I'll do
got
one more
next?
piece of little odd news. There's Florida police that had to eject like a trespassing alligator. This alligator is chilling in the mall.
Excuse
So,
me?
and I gotta say, this reminds us, bro, that alligators in Florida go together like peanut butter and jelly, like salt and pepper on a
Mm-hmm.
steak.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, they're actually like hiring people to straight up,
Oh my
like they're
god,
paying
look
them
at
good
this.
dough to straight up, not good dough, but they're paying them dough to hunt down pythons. Like people who buy a python, they go, "I want a python," and then they
Like
fucking
bounty hunters for pythons?
exactly. That's basically what it is. It's like, "Oh, I got a python." And then the wife or someone in the house is like, "You can't keep that thing. Get it out of here."
Yep.
feel like I'm roasting Floridans, but you know,
Oh well.
some would agree.
Yeah.
Anyway, they would just throw the snake out into the wild, and you got this python that just goes and continues living. So they got to hire these hunters, and it's a problem.
Totally.
It's like a localized issue. Like there are too many pythons and wild snakes and shit. But
That
yeah. Any
is
thoughts on that?
crazy. I mean, Florida be Florida, I guess.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
just this. The police just came in, snared the alligator, and took it out. And
Absolutely insane.
yeah. Anyway, they even said like suspect. Like they even took a picture and said suspect tried to resist apprehension. It's like, oh my god, dude.
It's not
Anyway,
Florida if you don't see a gator in the mall, I guess.
I suppose, man.
Yeah.
Let's do this last fun topic. Oh my
Hmm.
god. Adam Sandler's Happy Madison. They were pitched a Happy Gilmore video game.
My
So
God.
Happy Madison, I believe, is his production company, right or wrong? You guys
Yeah.
can correct me,
Yeah, yeah.
but um, they pitched this game, and then it's supposed to be. This is the best part. It's a hybrid. It was supposed to be a hybrid of a fighting game with a golfing game, and then it was supposed to involve all the casting characters in the Happy Madison or
You know, Adam Sandler
Happy
Cinematic
Gilmore
Universe.
movie. Yeah, basically the Adam Sandler. Dude,
ADC.
like, it didn't get a greenlit, but man, on the Xbox, like on that hardware at the time, like that would have been dope. If you, I'm saying at the time, put yourself in that time, and you'll be like, this game could have been dope.
Dude, now I just
Um,
want an Adam Sandler Cinematic Universe fighting game. Can
that'd be
you
cool.
imagine running fucking Bobby Boucher versus
Oh,
a Zohan or something?
oh,
Oh man.
he was Zohan too. That's
Yeah, he
right.
was Zohan, right?
Don't mess with Zohan.
Imagine running a Bobby Boucher versus freaking longest yard.
Oh my God. Oh, I was
I'd
thinking, I was
actually
mixing
play
up
buy
Bobby
that.
Boucher with Ricky Bobby from Talladega Nights
Oh,
by
there
Will
you go. You
Ferrell.
could do that too. Yeah.
Yeah, get him in there. Why not?
Yeah.
What a movie. But apparently they were all supportive of this game happening, and then apparently his Adam Sandler's brother was just trying to get the deal going, and
Just fell through
at,
at some point.
it fell through, and apparently the alligator from the movie with the golf ball, like that character, that alligator was supposed to be playable, and Abraham Lincoln was supposed to be unlockable
Oh
too.
my god. That sounds like an Adam Sandler game.
It does. I would
Yeah.
never touch, like I never touch a golfing game, but I would absolutely play the shit out of this game. I only
What
played like Mario Golfing once or something.
what is Adam Sandler's relation with video games? Has any of his movies been game
That I
adaptations?
know of. No, Well, I'll talk about that movie after, but no, I can't think of any movies he's had where it got adapted into a game.
Hmm.
Not off the top of my head. We could look it up though.
I'm just
Sandler.
curious. Yeah, anyways.
Yeah, I don't think he does have it, but anyway.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Would you play that? I'd play it.
I'd check it out. I wouldn't pay full price for it, but I'd check it out.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Adam Sandler movie? I know you watched one recently. One of his
Fucking,
movies.
maybe it's the bias of having seen it recently, but Uncut Gems was so good, man. Holy
Okay.
shit.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
If you want to split the Sandler cinematic universe into comedy and serious, I would say for serious it's definitely Uncut Gems. For
Yeah.
comedy, it might be a Click or a Longest Yard. I mean, they're both pretty good.
Okay, those are both good picks.
Yeah,
Mine for the comedy, I don't have a serious. Mine for the comedy is Mr. Deeds. I think that was in
Mr.
2002 it
Deeds.
came out.
Can't say
Well,
I've
you
seen
guys
that.
have to watch Mr. Deeds. I mean, it's not for everyone, but I love the shit out of that movie. John Turturro's in it, Nick Turturro's brother.
Yeah,
John Turturro's gonna be in the new Batman movie coming out too.
Nick
So that'll
Turturro
be
is also a staple, right, in the Sandler movies.
I don't know if Nick is, but I know John. I think John more so than Nick. I could be wrong.
He kind of
No, actually, no, they
recycles.
both appeared.
He
They both
recycles the
appeared.
same cast. He tends to do that.
They tend. I think it's his friends, and like apparently
Yeah,
Adam, he just wants to have fun at work, and I don't
yeah.
blame him. But I'm okay with Adam Sandler movies, and maybe that's unpopular. I never
Hey,
had an issue.
Murder Mystery was pretty good on Netflix with
I have to see
Jennifer
that.
Aniston. Yeah,
The Adam Sandler, as the Persians say.
Adam Sandler. Yeah.
Well, all right, guys. I think that's everything, right, man? We're good to
Are we
go.
seriously ending on Adam Sandler?
Yeah, why not? We gotta end on Adam Sandler. That's tremendous. That's it's a nice way to end it. I'm talking about Adam Sandler. I
Yeah.
love Adam Sandler,
Close us off, man.
and and apparently he's a cool ass dude. Anyway,
Yeah.
you know the deal, people. Subscribe on the YouTube, Bottom Dollar Banter, BDB. You can follow us on Spotify, Bottom Dollar Banter. Please, I would appreciate that, along with following us on Twitter at BD Banter Podcast. Give us a follow on Instagram at Bottom Dollar Banter. That's also lowercase. Other than that, and shameless plug, you can, if you like me here, you'll probably like me on my stream on twitch.tv/radicus underscore lowercase. Type that lowercase. And that's it, guys. Other than that, we are off to swim in the sea of life.
Peace.
And we wish you guys a good rest of the week. Peace.